We've all been there, right? That moment when your kid has a massive explosive meltdown and you just don't know what to do. Today, we're going to look past the old school punishments and dig into 6 really powerful tools that actually build emotional skills. And we're going to start with a story that I bet sounds pretty familiar to a lot of you.
So picture this. A father remembers being 7 years old. He'd spent the entire day building this incredible Lego tower. A total masterpiece in his little kid mind. And then his sister comes along and boom, accidentally knocks the whole thing over. He was just devastated. And that devastation quickly turned into white-hot rage. He started yelling, swearing, and his mom, hearing all this, walked in and, well, she spanked him.
And that's a moment so many of us can relate to, isn't it? That flash of parental frustration where you just want the behavior to stop. But here's the thing. What if that quick fix isn't really a fix at all? What if it's missing the most crucial piece of the puzzle? Actually teaching our kids how to handle that giant wave of anger in the first place. That's the real question we're asking today. Is there a better way? To find that better way, we first have to get real about why the old way often just doesn't work. So let's unpack the psychology behind spanking and see why it can actually create this vicious cycle of anger and punishment instead of one of learning and, real growth. Okay, so let's break this down because this is where the wires get totally crossed. On the left, you've got the parent's intention. They're trying to say, hey, that behavior, the yelling, the swearing, that's not okay. But what does a little kid's brain actually hear? Well, you see it on the right. The message that gets internalized is, I am bad. This creates so much shame and confusion, and it sets them up to just bottle things up, never learning how to actually deal with what they're feeling. And this isn't just a hunch, The science is pretty clear on this. A major study in the Journal of Family Psychology found that far from teaching self-control, spanking is actually linked to more aggression, not less. Plus, it's tied to mental health issues and even cognitive difficulties later on. So yeah, it might stop the yelling for a minute, but it completely fails to teach the child what to do the next time they feel that way. So, if punishment isn't the answer, what is? Well, it all starts with a huge shift in our perspective. Instead of just reacting to the tantrum, we've got to get curious about what's going on underneath it. You see, anger is a totally normal, healthy emotion for a kid. Their brains are literally still under construction, building the hardware to manage it all. And our job, it's to be the construction crew. And what's so fascinating here is when we look at what's really going on, it's almost never about just being bad. Look at this. A huge chunk of it comes from pure frustration, just like with that Lego tower, or from feeling totally powerless. Other times, it's something as simple as an unmet need. They're hungry, they're tired, they're just overwhelmed. Once we see the why, we can stop fighting the behavior and actually start solving the real problem. Okay, so if we're going to put punishment on the shelf, what do we replace it with? How do we actually help our kids build those healthy emotional pathways? Well, the answer is having a toolkit filled with some really powerful practical strategies. Let's walk through the 6 essential tools we can all use. So here they are, our toolkit. Number 1, model healthy behavior. Our kids are watching us constantly, so we have to show them how we handle our own big feelings. Number 2, teach emotional vocabulary. Give them the words like frustrated, disappointed, overwhelmed. Number 3 is teaching coping skills. These are the actual things they can do in the heat of the moment. 4, create a calm down corner, a safe space to regulate, not a timeout for punishment. 5, and this is a big one, notice the good. We have to catch them using these new skills and praise them for it. And finally, number 6, teach problem solving so they feel empowered to handle the situation differently next time. And let's circle back to that father from our story. This reflection from him is just so powerful. Looking back, he realized that spanking didn't give him any tools for the future, it just punished him for the past. Just imagine for a second, what if he had learned how to manage that anger when he was 7? That's a skill that pays dividends for an entire lifetime. And listen, these tools don't have to be complicated. We're talking about teaching our kids really simple, tangible things to do when that wave of anger hits. Things like taking a few deep belly breaths, or squeezing all their muscles tight and then letting go, or even just running around outside to burn off all that intense energy. These are practical, real-world strategies that give a kid back a sense of control. And we can even take it a step further. Once the storm has passed and everyone's calm, we can switch gears and become problem solvers together. By walking them through a simple process like this, we're doing so much more than just fixing today's issue. We're handing them a blueprint for handling conflict for the rest of their lives. We're empowering them to find their own solutions. All right, let's bring it all home. Let's go back to that moment. The 7-year-old, the broken Lego tower, the overwhelming anger. What could his mom have done differently if she had this toolkit? Let's reimagine that entire scene. Okay, so in this version, notice how the mom leads with pure empathy. She sees him. She validates his feeling. I see you're really upset. That right there changes everything. Then she sets a really clear boundary about the behavior, not the feeling. And here's the magic part. She offers to help him calm down with her, modeling a coping skill right there in the heat of the moment.
And because he feels heard instead of attacked, look what happens. The child can actually explain what's really hurting. It wasn't just about a pile of plastic bricks, it was about his hard work, his pride. This new approach just blows the door wide open for real communication, instead of just escalating the fight.
So what's the difference in the outcome here? It's night and day. Instead of shame and a lesson that never really lands, the child feels understood. He learns that his feelings are okay, but that there are better ways to show them, and he gets to be part of the solution. This, right here, is how you build real, lasting emotional intelligence.
Now, of course, changing our own habits as parents is, well, it's not easy, especially if we were raised a certain way ourselves. It takes a lot of self-reflection, a ton of patience, and honestly, the courage to just try something new. It's about making a conscious choice to break a cycle.
And this was the final, incredible realization from the father in our story. So many of us worry that this approach might be too soft. But what he finally understood is that teaching emotional skills isn't soft at all. It's one of the greatest strengths we can ever give our kids. It's about equipping them so they don't have to struggle with anger the way we might have.
Because ultimately, every single one of these tough moments is an opportunity. It's a chance to build a cycle of punishment and shame, or we can choose to build a cycle of connection, of understanding, and of skill building. The choice of which foundation we lay for our children's emotional future, well, that's one of the most important choices we'll ever get to make.